Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today, we are covering The Whole Truth, which is a Thai film. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea. We're doing some repeats. We're bustling through these recordings, so sorry in advance. It's good tea regardless. I am drinking the Republic of Tea Calm Relax Tea. It's got red rooibos, cinnamon, orange flavor, dandelion root, orange peel, ginger root, and vanilla flavor.
And I am drinking Republic of Tea's Rest Chamomile, Lemon Balm, and Lavender Tea. And it's got organic chamomile, organic lemon balm, organic passion flower, organic licorice root, natural creamy French vanilla flavor, and organic lavender.
And thank you to the Republic of Tea for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our lovely tea sippers, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. So for the summary, this mother gets in a car accident that puts her into a coma.
Single mother.
Yes, a single mother. And so the two kids are then introduced to grandparents that they were not made aware of, and they start living with them. And as they're living with them, a hole appears, and they look through it and see like these very like ugly, grotesque scenes. And it leads into revealing more and more of some secrets about the house and about the family. So for entertainment, I'm debating between a 6.75 and a 7. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with my guns and do the 6.75 as I initially did. The biggest thing that bothered me about this movie, and I actually considered it very distracting and took away my entertainment, was the soundtrack. It was way too active, way too loud. It was worse than the It soundtrack, which the It soundtrack is very much like, this scene you need to be scared, this scene you need to be scared. Well, this one, like, it was just constantly active and trying to, like, guide you through what it wanted you to feel. And instead, it just was, like, upsetting me. Well, not upsetting me, but it's just, like, distracting to me. Because there's one point where I had to lower the volume of the movie a little bit. And I just hear pum, 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 pum from the soundtrack. It's like, and it wasn't nothing. They were eating breakfast.
Yeah.
Like, you don't need to have that active of a soundtrack.
You don't need to lead the audience by the hand like that. Let your story speak for itself.
Yeah. It's like the soundtrack music is very important, but it's also just as important to know what type of music to put and when to have silence. Sometimes silence is a lot scarier than having music.
I feel like most of the time silence is scarier.
Yeah.
And it makes you pay attention more.
Yeah. So that's my biggest gripe and one of the biggest entertainment takeaways for me. The effects were
not great.
Yeah, they weren't great. Especially like the vomiting blood. You could very much tell that was CG. Which, I mean...
Most of it.
Yeah, which is a little disappointing because that's so easy to do, like the tube with the fake blood trick, like most movies do.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that'd be more budget friendly than having to CG that.
It depends.
But it did have some good creepy scenes. But a lot of the scenes that were supposed to be unsettling and creepy really weren't. Like, whenever they looked in the hole, I was apprehensive initially because I'm like, what the hell are they going to see? And then once you see it, it's like...
It's kind of sad.
I mean, it's sad. It's definitely sad. But I feel like the effect was supposed to be more like, it's creepy, it's scary.
Yeah.
And I didn't get that. Really, the scene that got me the worst was whenever Putt, I think his name was, he woke up and like saw, well, he hid under the covers, and whenever he lifted up the covers and you see the girl sitting on the bed and she's putting her hand near the sister, just oh no. like while I was watching, I'm like, no. And
nope.
Because at that point, it's like, do you tell your sister? Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
Yeah, I feel like screaming is the right reaction.
Yeah.
She can do with her reaction as she will at that point, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But I do feel like the weakest point in this movie is the lead up to the end, specifically towards the grandparents, because I'll go to the realism on the kids staying with the grandparents in the first place.
Yeah.
But aside from that, just right from the get-go, the kids are uneasy about the grandparents. And so whenever they're unraveling the story and you find out more and more, it's really not that surprising, and some of it's kind of predictable. It would be very different if it was kind of like in
The Visit.
Yes. And actually, initially, whenever the grandma was having the night stuff, I immediately thought of The
that's
Visit.
what it was going to be like.
Yes, me too.
I was honestly a little bit disappointed when it wasn't.
It's like, I wasn't necessarily disappointed because the twist to me was satisfying enough. But what I was disappointed is, at least in The Visit, yeah, there were weird things that the grandparents did, but overall, the grandkids were having a good experience with their grandparents, and they were trying to create a good relationship. Mm-hmm. But it's like this, it was kind of like the first day it was maybe okay, but then once the cat the cat outside, it's just from there it was just more and more tension, and it just kind of it made the twist less surprising. So yeah, totally saw the rat poison thing, and especially whenever the grandma just kept pushing him to drink his milk. I'm like, what did she put in that? And
it was a big thing of milk too. I actually really enjoy milk. I know you don't, but
well, I enjoy milk, but I can't have it because I'm lactose intolerant.
Well, I know a lot of other people don't like it either, but I really enjoy it. But even that was that was too much.
Expensive.
That's so much. It really is, especially right now.
How much are they paying for all that milk?
That was so much milk every day. So
yeah. So it was already sus, and so it's you're already suspecting the grandma of doing something, and then the kids briefly mention it, but then they continue to do it. And then whenever Put started coughing up blood, I'm like, oh yeah, that's the milk.
Uh-huh.
And then so that wasn't surprising at all, and that was honestly kind of disappointing. I wish they would have kept that under wraps a little bit
longer.
Yeah. But I will say I didn't see the twist coming that it was the mom that killed the dad, because since they made the grandma so obvious, I'm like, oh, the grandpa was the one that killed the father. Even whenever they said that the father killed himself, I'm like, no, he didn't. The grandpa killed him. Mm-hmm. Especially how gun happy the grandpa. He takes out his gun all the time. So it's I feel like the movie was at least clever enough to be haha, this, here's, we got a little trick up our sleeve. So I will give it, I really enjoyed that twist, that it was actually the mother that did it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of those things where I can see the potential of this movie. I feel like it could have been a really good movie, and the end of the movie did help the entertainment a lot. But the lead up to it was just very unsatisfactory. So whenever you did get to the start of the twist, you're just like, I know. So that's what I got.
So I give it a 6.25.
We're pretty close.
Mm-hmm. It was good, but it wasn't great. The story itself was rather interesting to me. The effects were kind of crap. There were a lot of missed opportunities.
I did like the dynamic of like the grandpa not being able to see the hole,
Yes.
but everyone else could. And then you
Yeah.
kind of realize why that is. But it's like, especially from a kid perspective, because it's like we've all been kids, and we've all had those moments where like the adults aren't quite believing us, and we're like, come on, like
So
it's
frustrating.
so plain, and you're not believing me.
It's right there.
So I felt that a lot
Yeah.
in that scene.
Yes. They did that very well. I feel like they could have upped the suspense and build up, but it was thankfully fairly light on jump scares.
Yeah.
I'm glad that they didn't rely solely on jump scares for this movie. It was
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah, like the jump scare where he looks through the hole and you're like, "Oh, there's a deeper hole." And then the I forgot the
Pina?
Pina, there we go. She like
pretty-
pulls her head out and you're like, "Oh, I was looking through her head." Like that was a good like surprise, gotcha.
Yeah. Though the hole in her head didn't really make that much sense.
No, since she had rat poison. Yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't think about that. Yeah.
So yeah, there were several unlikable characters in this show. I feel like part of the story was a little unnecessary, like the side arc of the gross pervert who wanted to get with the
Oh.
sister,
Yeah.
and the backstabbing quote unquote friend.
Yeah, like the only relation is the fact that the song she sang in the shower was the same song that,
Which she hummed fairly often throughout the movie.
yeah, so it's like it was unnecessary.
Yeah. It really only showed that they were having trouble outside of their home life, too.
Yeah, which I don't really get why that was necessary to expand on because it didn't really add to the story.
It wasn't.
Yeah.
I feel like it was used to help pad the time, and that was about it.
Which sucks because they could have used that time to expand on the relationship with the grandparents
Yes.
and like made them have a better relationship with their
Or
grandparents.
Up the spoopiness
Yeah.
and have even more creepy scenes.
Yeah.
So, like, and the effects could have been a lot better, honestly, but if they did take out those scenes and put in more scenes with the ghost girl, and maybe even scenes with the alcoholic dad that was shot.
Yeah, because you don't really see him outside of the peephole.
You don't, ever.
Yeah.
It is only in the scenes with the people. And he's passed out drunk. 90% of it. So,
Which, since he was murdered, you would think that he would be haunting the house just the same.
yeah. I feel like he probably felt guilty, at least in part as well. And so understood why the mom shot him. Why his wife or girlfriend, I think
Wife,
they were,
I'm pretty sure.
I think they were married.
Yeah.
Shot him for it, out of anger and sorrow. But so I can see why he wouldn't necessarily still be there. But I mean, the grandmother was trying to do basically the same thing to his son, who his wife was pregnant with at the time. So I feel like he should have probably still been there, if nothing else, to try to help protect the son. Or try to warn the son.
Yeah, which, like, the grandma's justification for killing them or trying to kill them is so
Shallow.
messed up. Yeah. Like, what the hell? It's like, no wonder the daughter hasn't
Yeah.
been talking to them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah. There was just a lot with the realism, but those are the main things that I had for entertainment. So, I'm good to move on when you are.
Me too. All right. So I put a 3 for realism. So like I didn't write them down, but I have a lot. So like first chief would be the correct, the current police head person, whenever he calls the grandpa and is like, I need to ask, like, what's your alibi? And he says it, it's like, I'm sorry, you normally would have to bring him in for question. It's just very, like, I understand that he used to work in that department, but you should treat him the same as you would any other person.
He did technically say we're going to have you come by at some point
Yeah.
to fill out a statement. So I think it was more of a courtesy thing.
Yeah, but I guess I don't know. Of course, I'm not like an expert in that, but to me, saying filling out a statement means you're just going to write it and then be done, and we're not going to bother you anymore. But
Yeah, he trusted him, so he kind of went with it.
yeah, the biggest problem I have with this movie is the fact that the hospital let these two kids just leave with these two potential strangers. Like the kids didn't even know that they had these grandparents. It's like you would think that the hospital would ask for some sort of proof.
I mean, not necessarily. They did come into the hospital with the grandfather. He picked them up at the house.
That's true. So yeah. But the fact that the kids were so willing, we're going to stay with you.
I was more surprised that they were listed as emergency contacts.
That is...
Or next of kin. Like...
That's true.
How do they find them?
Yeah, because I'm like, if the mother is kind of, doesn't have them in her life, surely she has at least friends that would be considered like emergency contact.
It's far more likely that she had other people listed as emergency contacts.
Yeah, like somebody. Mm-hmm. Even if it's her like mother-in-law or someone connected to her husband's.
It likely would have been friends.
Yeah.
It sounded like she had basically cut ties with everyone.
Yeah. And then whenever Putz first gets sick, what was the sister's name? Pin? I think it's Pin. I know. Sorry,
we're getting mixed up with the names too.
Yeah,
like
sorry if we were messing up the name, but the older sister.
Yeah.
Instead of waiting to come home from school and see your brother continuously cough up blood, why not take him to the hospital as soon as you saw him with blood in the first place? Like, that's not normal. You don't just recover from that. You go to a doctor if you're... And it wasn't like... I mean, it wasn't a ton of blood, but it was
a fair bit.
It was a fair bit.
It wasn't just a couple flecks. It was
on his face. It was on his shirt. Yep. Like that. No.
That's immediate hospital. I don't care what the grandparents are saying. We're going.
Yeah. And then...
and if they won't let you out of the house, that's when you call someone.
Yeah.
Because no.
Yeah. I'm also curious with... Like, I can understand the grandpa somehow finagling it to where it makes it look like it was a suicide by the husband, maybe, which you would hope they would still, like, check for fingerprints and stuff like that and, like, do a legit crime scene check.
He didn't even wipe off the gun after he took it from the daughter.
Yeah.
He just put it straight in the dude's hand.
Yeah. So I kind of feel like
that works.
Maybe my justification and why I didn't take too much away from the realism in that point is I can see him finagling and convincing them enough that they don't check, but they should have.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I'm like, how did they get away with that is the fact that the daughter got well, I guess they could have been like, oh, it was an accident. She drank it.
I'm pretty sure that's what they said. Was that she wasn't all there and she was hiding, got bored waiting for her dad who was drunk and passed out on the couch.
Yeah.
She didn't know it. So while she was in there bored, then she found that and drank it.
Though... I know there's a lot of poisons that like stay in your system for a long time. Like they can look at a body and determine like how long, and that's how they determine, oh, was it an immediate poisoning or has it been over time? I'm not an expert on that or rat poison, so I don't know if rat poison was one of those, but it's like I would think it would probably be since she was already slowly getting poisoned by the grandma.
I feel like it would show up in hair samples.
Yeah.
But if they only tested blood levels, then they would only see like the immediate stuff. Most likely. Most likely. I could be wrong on that. I didn't actually look up a lot of the stuff that I meant to. It's been busy.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, you've got a lot on your plate.
I've got a lot on my plate.
But another thing that was frustrating, well, no, another thing that I knocked down for on realism is the mother when she was in a coma. You really didn't see that many machines. And also, she just had, I don't know what it's called, but she just had the little, like, nasal thing to, like, an oxygen tank. But it's like whenever you typically see people, like, that, like, much in a coma or unconscious in a hospital, they normally have, like, a full-on, like, mask, feeding tube. Well, which if I remember right, I think she did have a feeding tube, or no, did she not even have a feeding tube? I don't remember.
I can't remember.
But it's like she didn't really have a full on face mask. I didn't really see a feeding tube. It's like no,
They
she
would have
would
had her
be,
hooked up to so many more monitors.
She
at
would
the very
have
least.
like IVs, machines,
Yes.
yeah, everything. Like it's just the hospital keeping her alive at that point since she's in a coma.
I mean, if she's breathing on her own, I can understand that, but she would need food and fluids, and they would want to monitor her heart and her brain activity, along with other vitals. So,
Yeah. But and then I have some doubts on like the bully for the sister and how the teacher like tricked her into like figuring out that was her or whatever. That was kind of weird. I don't know if I buy into that, but
the teacher didn't trick her into it. They knew it was her from the text.
Yeah, but but didn't I watched it really late at night, so maybe I'm but it's like if I remember right, the teacher had the intention of baiting her into sharing it with the school so that way they could be like, we gotcha, and then you've got your text.
Yeah.
Like that's messed up because that's still like is pitting the sister as the victim.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think
I
that
also
approach was.
don't understand how it was viewed as like the guy, the perverted guy, was trying to make it sound like it was a really
Like explicit
explicit
But you just see her
video
back.
and that she was easy and all, but really it was just her showering. Like she wasn't doing anything
Yeah.
untoward. She was legitimately just cleaning off and humming.
Yeah. And then the fact that the camera was like above her, you
So-
really just saw like her head and her back.
Yeah.
Like it wasn't
So-
that big of a.
It was more.
I knew it
was-
sucked.
I mean, it would, but at the same time, it's more of. Honestly, when they showed it finally, I was like, that's something that the guy would get brought up on criminal charges for. Not that she would get in trouble or have a reputation of any kind for that.
Yeah. Yep.
I was very confused by that.
Yeah. But that's all I got for realism.
Yeah, I give it a 3. So, I agree. There were a couple other things too, though. Their mom's old room, which they said that was her old room, had 2 beds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and they even told her, oh, we haven't touched it since you've left. Oh, caught red-handed. Unless
It was
if...
weird, and they were single beds too.
The only thing I can think of is, like, whenever... No, because she wasn't staying with them. It's just the husband coming over. I don't know. Because I'm like, well, if the mother and the husband are there and they're sleeping in 2 separate beds in her old room.
It sounded like it, because it didn't sound like he had a place of his own.
Yeah, because
He was working there because he was an artist.
Yeah.
But then where did their older daughters sleep?
Yeah.
Because those beds were kind of small.
Yeah, she wouldn't be in a
And the crib was downstairs, away from everyone, which didn't make sense at all.
yeah.
But okay. The pictures torn in half should have been a giveaway that something was wrong.
Yeah.
Just saying. The cat changed color
Dang it, I
a
didn't
couple
even...
of times in the movie. Like, it's supposed to be a gray tabby for most of it, and at one point it was an orange tabby.
Wow. Wow.
Like, if they used another gray cat with different markings, that would have been one thing. It would have been easy to overlook, but it was gray. And then it turned orange, and then it was back to gray. So,
They're not chameleons.
no, it's not a cat of a different color. Like, they stay one color.
That's funny. I didn't even
So
notice that.
that was the thing. I'm really surprised you didn't
like I
notice
thought
that.
I thought something like was odd with the cat, but I couldn't place
Well,
what it was.
Yeah, they used a stuffed animal at one point too.
Oh yeah,
but-
I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, they used an entirely different color cat.
Wow, that's
at one
sad.
point.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a whole new level of inconsistent.
Yeah. And as unnecessary as that side arc was with the friend and the pervert guy, it would have been nice to see some kind of punishment or justice for him.
Yeah.
'Cause once she found the phone, we didn't even really see him ever after that.
Yeah.
And the friend got in trouble, and they mentioned absolutely nothing about the guy after that. So that was a thing. I know the police were trying to be courteous to the grandfather, but they would have looked into, especially a horrific murder like that, a bit more. The kids would have probably questioned more the grandfather when he first showed up, especially since they hadn't really met him. The daughter was maybe a year old, and that's pushing it a lot when all of this happened and the mom left. The son hadn't even been born yet. So that seemed a little bit off, but I can kind of still sort of see it happen. Especially with the explanation and everything. I feel like they would have asked at least for a driver's license proof or something, you know. Maybe they had heard their names and that helped. Mm-hmm. But it just seemed a little weird. I feel like social services would have been called instead, or they would have insisted, you know, we don't know you. Let us stay with friends or something.
Yeah.
Or call friends of the mom. Something. Because again, it's just weird that they would be the people contacted in that situation. When she had broken all ties and moved away, that they would have been notified at all seems weird.
Yeah.
So, unless they just could not find anything on her and just happened to find them as next of kin listed, apart from the kids, which I feel like the kids would have been called too. Like, if they found her information, they would have found her residential information and would have called the house looking for some kind of significant other or kids. Someone living with her to notify.
Yeah.
But the kids weren't notified at all.
Yeah, that's weird.
So, it was odd. And I know they were minors, but still, it just seemed a little off.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. Though, I mean, maybe the laws around that are just really
it
weird.
Might be.
Because I know
different
healthcare
area.
laws and then minor laws are just kind of can be weird.
It can be, but and again, it's a different culture,
Yeah.
different area. I could be missing something. It's very likely I'm missing something, but it just seemed a little off with our experience and the information we have.
Yeah.
So that's what I had.
Yeah, like in general, I'm not mad I watched it. Like I feel like especially with towards the end there was something gained from it, but
Could have been better.
yeah. Yeah. It's like there's other movies that do it better, and so it's like those movies would be better to watch.
Yeah.
Like I guess Shudder.
Shudder, for sure.
It doesn't have the exact same twist, but
No.
it is a very twisty movie.
Yes.
But anyways, thank you for joining us today, and please comment on what you thought of the movie. If you'd like to recommend a movie, game, or tea and keep up to date with our content, you can find us on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Discord, TikTok, and most places you listen to podcasts.
And if you'd like to support the podcast, please subscribe, like, and share our content. If you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring and a PayPal available, or we have our affiliate link with the Republic of Tea. It does not change the price of the tea. It just allows us to continue to do what we love. And all of those sites will be linked down below. And until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye.